What's going on, everybody? This is dkdynamite, and tonight we're going to be talking about carry forward for Black Ops 7 and how it may have already been confirmed a little bit early. Definitely stay tuned. Now in the background, we got some fun gameplay of Party Ops. The mode itself did get some updates following the Season 4 Reloaded release. With that, though, I did want to start by talking about this image in particular, which did get created following the reveal of the Battlefield 6 campaign. As it says, no over-the-top weapons, no stupid skins, no manic movement, and grounded gameplay. Here's the thing, right? I'm glad people are excited about Battlefield 6. The franchise was in desperate need of a revival. And hey, the rivalry between COD and Battlefield is always a ton of fun to talk about. If anything, healthy competition just makes games better. I'm really rooting for the teams over at DICE and EA, and I think Battlefield creators also need a win. So I'm hoping to jump into the beta whenever it pops up, probably in August, following the July 31st reveal, which is also going to have its own little COD Next type broadcast. But the thing about Battlefield that I don't understand, or at least with this reveal in particular, is that people are acting like any Call of Duty campaign trailer has ever showed the things that are being described in this image: over-the-top weapons, dumb skins, manic movement, or ungrounded gameplay. Like, what are we actually talking about here? Because every Call of Duty campaign is usually grounded with the setting and tone that the game is built on. It's not until later seasons where you start seeing crossovers, wacky skins. So to me, it's pretty redundant to compare Season 4 of Black Ops 6 to the launch window of Battlefield 6 when you already know, especially when a free-to-play Battle Royale probably comes out for Battlefield, you're going to end up seeing some wacky, colorful, flashy skins and probably collaborations. And that's what every game is going to do. That's not defending some of the decisions or crossovers we've seen, but that is just pointing out the obvious here when it comes to how these games work and how they launch versus what the updates look like 6 months later. But regardless of that, I figured I'd bring that up considering it's a carry forward focused video here. I also want to remind you guys about the pre-launch window of BO6 because I felt like tons of people were going at my throat for saying that we shouldn't see MW3 carry forward into BO6. There was a ton of folks in my comments acting like I was the craziest person alive for suggesting that Black Ops 6 should focus on just the 90s and its identity, at least for the first month or two, when we already knew that by Season 1 or 2, you would start seeing some wild bundles and of course crossovers. I think if anything, you're going to be getting the most out of the game's identity from just the campaign and that pre-Season 1 window when things are relatively grounded and bundles aren't as crazy. But I'm aware that argument could be used against me. If you're going to say, oh, well, the identity is going to be lost by Season 1 anyway, why not just let MW3 carry forward into Black Ops 6? The thing is, I think a better way to put it is that Modern Warfare had hundreds upon hundreds of items when it came to operators, weapons, skins. That would probably break Black Ops 6, first of all, but secondly, I think considering how limited a Call of Duty is before its first and second seasons, you would probably end up seeing, dominantly at least, a ton of Modern Warfare content being used over any Black Ops content, and that would defeat the whole purpose of going to a different sub-series from a different studio. But it's funny looking at the sentiment now surrounding carry forward, as we'll get into. I do wonder if people would complain about carry forward though if a lot of the collaborative operator skins weren't cell shaded or based on cartoons. What if we had Master Chief and John Wick right now? Would people really want to complain about carry forward? That's the big question. But it looks like the ESRB rating did pop up online for Black Ops 7, and with this, not only came confirmation of carry forward, but some other new details about the game itself. So let's jump into it. As it says, it's a first-person shooter in which players engage in combat missions through outdoor terrains and realistic urban environments. As players try to prevent a tech titan from gaining power, they use pistols, machine guns, other rifles, and explosives to kill various enemies. Battles are realistic and frenetic, highlighted by gunfire, cries of pain, etc. So of course, that's very light information about the single player or just the tone and narrative of the game itself. I do believe Gamescom will have more of a focus on the co-op campaign in August, whereas COD Next, currently rumored for the end of September, will probably have more of a focus on the multiplayer and the zombies, maybe a pinch of Warzone, as we've seen in previous years with other COD Next events. But as it says later in this ESRB rating, I'm of course going to use some filtered words so that I don't get demonetized. It says some weapons will feature 420 content, people inhaling 420 juice from bong-like structures attached to rifles, and player characters smoking 420 juice or inhaling through bongs as part of execution sequences. I believe this is directly referencing the Dank Days bundle and probably other 420 related content which already released in Black Ops 6 a couple of months ago. Funny enough, this same kind of deal happened with Modern Warfare 3's ESRB rating, which directly referenced a ton of 420 content that had previously released in Modern Warfare 2, thus confirming carry forward. Now, this video isn't going to be focused on everything that I believe will and won't be carrying forward into Black Ops 7. That video is actually linked down below, which I made a couple of weeks ago, but at the very least, it does confirm that your cosmetics and bundle-related content will be carrying over into the new Call of Duty, likely at launch, not during the beta. So for those that aren't looking forward to carry forward at all, it looks like the only grounded time for the new game's multiplayer will probably be just during the beta, which, look, I totally understand that argument, because I feel like if anything, carry forward shouldn't be implemented until Season 1 once Warzone gets integrated. I would like it if that whole pre-Season 1 window is just grounded with the base game's content, the weaponry, the operators, the blueprints. I would prefer it that way, but what I really want them to not do carry forward for a back-to-back Black Ops sequel, I'm just not on board with that. I think if anything, as I'll get into later, this is probably the last time we're going to see carry forward anyway. But honestly, when it comes to carry forward, I'm excited to be able to use certain operator skins and at least bring over certain finishing moves, emotes, let's say calling cards. I'm not really going to be using a lot of the base weapons from BO6 unless I absolutely have to, because let's just say they're meta. But taking a look at how Modern Warfare 3 handled things, the game itself kind of made a bunch of MW2 content pretty redundant. I mean, it's cool that it allowed for carry forward, because if you're going to be seeing back-to-back Call of Duty titles a part of the same sub-series, may as well have that, considering Warzone will probably only allow you to use your MW2 and 3 content for one more year. I'm betting they end up doing a reset with MW4 where Warzone just gets a complete fresh start and a clean slate. Probably still under COD HQ, but carry forward will always exist to an extent through Warzone. But when it comes to premium game to premium game, unless the games are set pretty close to one another, I can't really see where carry forward could actually work. In this case with Black Ops, though, I think it's going to be unique to have 90s content in 2035. But again, we've kind of seen this already happen with Black Ops 2 2012, which was set in both the 80s and 2025. Now, something I've also pointed out on the podcast recently is that it almost doesn't matter if they don't allow carry forward, for this reason specifically, because by Season 1 regardless, you're going to be seeing flashy animated operator bundles, you're going to be seeing crossovers and probably more event passes. So if anything, all we could do is just hope for a collab with Halo, Doom, Gears of War, John Wick finally, because at least when you see those collabs, you'll have people pretty happy, even if they typically aren't on board with collabs that we get inside of this series. Now, without going off on a big tangent, which could lead to its own separate video, people keep opening their wallets. I guarantee you, if you think social media is the dominant player base for Call of Duty, you're terribly mistaken. Your next door neighbor's probably spending hundreds of dollars on black sale and collaborative outfits, and guess what? To each their own. People can spend the money the way they want. Some folks out there who may be even against COD MTX will probably still buy a collaborative bundle from a property that they're really in love with, whether it's a movie, a TV show, a cartoon, whatever the case may be. And I can also guarantee you they wouldn't do as many frequent collabs if people weren't buying them. It doesn't matter if a creator tells you not to buy it. It doesn't matter if somebody tweets and gets 1 million likes on the post. People are still going to spend money the way they want to, and that's probably never going to change. Now, a solution would obviously be a cosmetic filter so that folks that get really offended by seeing some bright, flashy, crossover type operators, they could then turn all that off and see a bunch of milsim default outfits. Look, I gotta say this though, I think Black Ops 6 has at least done a good job with making sure a lot of the battle passes and even some of the bundles have had a good focus on tactical, militarized outfits, maybe even a few from the campaign, whereas you'll still end up getting your crossover packs, your event passes later, during reloaded updates in particular. There's been a good balance, at least within BO6. Obviously, it could be better. You can already wishlist bundles from a kill cam, which I know kind of gets disabled because of bundle leaks or whatnot, but they clearly want you to be able to see all the crazy content available in the game so that it can encourage people to go to the bundle shop. So I can't see how an operator cosmetic filter would really make sense when it comes to that business model, but hey, if they want to add that in, that'll be great to just kind of put an end to this conversation. Now, before we continue, I want to let you know about today's sponsor, Aniba, an online marketplace that offers the best deals on digital gift cards, game codes, and even DLC. Users can also earn cashback on select purchases so that they can play more and spend less. If you want to check out Aniba, then click on the special link down below in this video's description or the pinned comment. And thank you to Aniba for sponsoring tonight's video. Now, the last thing I'll end with is that I do believe this will be the last time we end up seeing Carry Forward in a premium title, at least for the foreseeable future, right? It looks like Modern Warfare 4 is slated for 2026, Sledgehammer has a new series they're starting for 2027, and even if Treyarch comes back around with a Black Ops 8 in 2028, I don't think there'd be any chance we see Carry Forward from BO6 or 7 into that game. I think Activision or Microsoft does want to make sure that we end up getting on a schedule where there's at least a 3-year cycle between Treyarch, Infinity Ward, and Sledgehammer, which obviously kind of fell apart a little bit after Vanguard in 2021. I think in a perfect world, if there weren't thousands of layoffs, it would be cool to test out some more back-to-back sequels every now and again, every decade. Not too often, but if the same lead studio is going to do back-to-back premium games, you would then hope for other studios to help pitch in, help work on some of the live service seasonal content for the current game that's out, not having the one lead studio crunch between 2 games at once and a bunch of live service. And I almost feel like MW2 and 3 being back-to-back, then BO6 and 7 being back-to-back, wasn't necessarily at the best time considering this big transition under the Microsoft acquisition. But I can bet you we'll end up seeing Carry Forward in a future premium game if they get data that suggests that it was a very successful addition to Modern Warfare 3 and BO7. That is about it. This has been dkdynamite. Leave our thoughts down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts on the alleged confirmation of Carry Forward from the ESRB rating for BO7? I do believe we'll probably get confirmation of this again either during Gamescom or maybe a COD Next at some point in September. Leave our thoughts down below. I really hope you've enjoyed, and peace out, everybody.